Welcome to the Money Mentors Podcast.
This Money Mentors podcast is about helping you with your retirement questions. So if you have a question for us, reach out online anytime at matsonfinancial.com. We get all kinds of questions here on the show, too. And here's a question a lot of good savers struggle with. Just how much should I have in my emergency fund? Well, Investopedia just put a dollar figure on it for what they say is an average couple with 6 months of expenses. They say that number should be just above $33,000 in that emergency stash. So it's good to have a guide like that, but how much do you typically recommend that someone in retirement set aside for their emergency fund?
Yeah, we really look and see, it's not so much the dollar figure, but it's more 90 days to about 6 months of cash to cover your expenses.
Okay.
On the savings accounts, we really look to maximize interest rates as much as possible, like we're in a high interest rate environment like we are right now. However, we really don't like to see any more than 6 months of expenses in cash.
Yeah, the real reason for that is that you want to have at least 3 months, which they're saying is now is $33,000 in up to 6 months, but we really don't care about the return on those dollars. We want the liquidity, understanding the purpose of those dollars. At Matson Financial Services, we're very much about investing dollars in exact ways for the purpose of that. So when you have a situation, whether it's a new air conditioner going to come out or an emergency comes up or even changing jobs or losing a job, you want to have at least 90 days availability, up to 6 months. But after 6 months, if you have dollars in there, they're really losing their opportunity of growth. And that's what Marcus was talking about there, is the opportunity of growth. And that means that, hey, if I've got 6 months of savings in there, well, what do I do with that money? Well, now we're still, again, what we call non-qualified money. That's money that's after taxes, like a savings account. And so we want to have that available, but we want it to work for you. So we call that an opportunity fund. And you kind of go up the scale. You have yo-yo money. That's your cash money that goes in and out of your accounts to pay your ordinary bills. Your emergency fund, 90 days up to 6 months. And then an opportunity fund. Opportunity fund for us is going to be invested. It's going to be at risk. It's going to be at lowest risk in your portfolio, but it will be a portfolio that you can have assets to, but you're really designating that for something in the future like a vacation or something maybe down the road quite a ways, 2 years, 3 years, new car, those type of things. Generally speaking, in an emergency fund, you're not going to have money in there like repair your roof, put a new roof on. Unless you're doing that in a very short period of time frame, that's not where you want to keep those type of dollars down the road. If you're planning for that, whether it's 10 or 15 years down the road, you really want to have that into a growth type of account that you can control and make sure it's working as hard as you do for it.
And I kind of had you in my head recently, Gary. I've had a number of those big expenses in recent years. I had the roof a couple years ago, a new HVAC unit this summer, a big bathroom renovation. And even though I've saved for emergencies, I get uncomfortable watching that account dwindle. So psychologically, does it help retirees when you kind of segregate the funds based on the purpose like this?
Well, there's a couple things going on there. Number one is that you get confident because you have these extra dollars sitting there.
Right.
So when you use them or consume them for what their purpose is, it makes it feel uncomfortable because, again, I'm not at my comfort level. I don't have those dollars there anymore. So it's great for our clients is that they want to replace those dollars. So we plan for that. We have the availability, whether it's this year, next year, or a combination of, to put those dollars back there so you have that confidence that you can meet any emergency that comes along. So that's why we love that factor of having the different structures of buckets, if you would, in the right purpose, like a Roth IRA, opportunity fund, savings. Of course, that's the emergency, and then your yo-yo account, your cash money goes in and out. By having those buckets structured, you know that you can weather any type of storm out there, generally speaking, and not have to freak out or worry that you're going to push yourself into new tax brackets or run out of money.
Really, really helpful when you put it in terms like that. And here's the thing. Planning for retirement, we know it is complex when you're thinking about issues just like this. But I love when someone breaks it down into an easy analogy for us, much like you do. And one writer for Morningstar says, you can think of retirement planning in general, kind of like the great baseball movie Moneyball. right, you guys remember this one, right?
Oh,
With
I love it.
Brad Pitt. Yeah, he played
One
the
of my
real life
favorites.
Billy Bean. Yeah, of the Oakland A's. Actually, Billy just passed away recently.
Yeah,
was
I
reading.
saw that.
Yeah. But he used data and analytics to build his winning team. And this writer suggests we can really do the same thing when it comes to our retirement. So how does that side of things help you plan for someone?
Well, for us, that's exactly what we want to do, is that we talk about your dreams, your goals, your desires. These are things that lifestyle that retirement should look like. And then we equate that down to money. That's how you can do certain things in retirement, whether it's a lifestyle. I mean, we all need utilities, health insurance, transportation. All of those things are pretty universal. But then the lifestyle things we want to do, help grandkids with college education. Or somebody may not have grandkids, so they're going to do something different, travel, whatever that looks like. By having those segmented out, now we can look at your assets, look at everything that we need to look at for your plan, including Social Security, your Medicare, taxes. We look at all that, and then we put together a plan to meet those needs of your quest, if you look at it from that standpoint. So we want to actually, ideally, perfectly match up your assets to what you're trying to achieve. We had one lady come to us this a couple of years ago, and she said, Gary, I'm coming to you because I want to buy a new Camaro. And I'm like,
That's fun.
Okay, yeah. You want to buy a car? You have my permission. Go buy a car. No, you don't understand. My financial advisor said I couldn't afford it.
Oh.
We looked at her portfolio, and she had hundreds of thousands of dollars, no debt. And I'm going like, why did he think you couldn't have this new car that you wanted? And she says he was afraid I was going to run out of money. It wasn't even close to being true. So once again, I told her through my analysis, I showed her where the money's going to come from, that she could afford it, how we can actually lower the taxes to make sure she can afford that and pay it off very quickly over 2 years. Interest rates were very low back then, of course, 0 to 1%. So it made a lot of sense to move it over 2 years and keep that taxes low. And she went out and bought the new car. Of course, she became a client as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to go off of that, one item that we get from clients quite often is, they have, for example, one of my clients wanted an excavator, and he wanted to buy an excavator. And it's about, $7,000 to $10,000, and it's our job to find out the right bucket to take it from. And by having those different buckets that Gary mentioned between, the emergency fund and the opportunity fund and the IRAs and the Roth IRAs, by having assets in each of those buckets, we can really build out and know where the right bucket to take the money from.
Yeah, so a lot of times people look at it and say, okay, most financial advisors out there will tell you that on your bucket of money, you can take 2.5%, maybe 3%. But the problem with that is, even statistically, how do you say that? Statistically?
Statistically.
Okay, I'll go with that one. Even though you do it within those parameters, about 18 to 19% of people still run out of money, even though they're doing it, quote, to 2.5% to 3%. Now, that means if you have $1 million, let's use 3%, that means you're going to take out $30,000 a year from $1 million. And even that, you're still going to run out of money?
Wow.
Something's wrong with that picture. And what is that's wrong? It's the factor that when you're taking these money outs, when we have the market downturn, because all you've got is stocks and bonds in your portfolio, and it goes down, both of those go down 20, 30, 40%, and you're still taking that 30 out, that's what wipes you out. It's not the factor that of how much you're taking out. It's the factor that you don't have a plan when the market goes down to have those monies coming out without losses. And that's the key to a good income plan, is making sure that you have income without losses, if it's possible, and it is, and take advantage when the market moves.
Want weekly lessons from your money mentors? Yes. Hit the subscribe button now and listen every weekend on Wood Radio.
The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. Fee-based financial planning and investment services are offered by Matson Financial Services, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Insurance products and services offered through Lakeview Financial Group, LLC, Matson Financial Services, LLC, and Lakeview Financial Group are affiliated. To find out if Matson Financial Services is licensed in your state, please call 800-536-8907.